You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning. Welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Calvin Butenoff coming to you live from our home at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We have a busy show today, lots of guests. Amy Barlow from Clean, Wisconsin, going to join us after the 9:30 news. Going to talk about water in Wisconsin, data centers in Wisconsin, getting a lot of attention, especially in the last couple of weeks. So that is going to be a great conversation. I hope you can stick around for that. Emily Zeffos going to be joining us in hour number 2. She, of course, is running for office. She has been on the program many times before.
Yes, indeed.
Going to talk about her campaign and what she is hearing out on the campaign trail. So stick around for that. Last half an hour of the show, as we always do, we lighten it up with a little audio sorbet where we take a breath, get away from the news, talk about silly things. Salad Wars.
Yeah.
That's on the way.
Nothing but the hardest hitting news and the biggest questions asked here at Matt and Aaron Air. First runner up for a WBA award. That's right. We have a piece of paper.
Salad Wars. What do you like on your salad? Do you have salad rules? Are you a on the side Meg Ryan kind of salad person? Are you against nuts and say cranberries in your salad? And this is just among the three of us because these are where these come from.
Yeah.
Some pretty strong feelings about salad.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Do you hate salad outright? And
we'll talk
why?
about that too. Yes. Salad Wars coming up after the 10:30 news. And we will wrap up the show as we always do with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Halloween themed this week. This Ghouls for You edition.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Wanted to start off with this. Milwaukee, this is from WISN. Milwaukee launching a citywide food drive amid the federal shutdown because SNAP benefits are going to run out on Saturday.
Yep.
Milwaukee community leaders starting an emergency citywide food drive to help out families affected by the shutdown, which will cut off SNAP benefits for thousands of people. There are about 230,000 people who typically get SNAP food share benefits in Milwaukee County. It's about $160 per person that they get on the first of the month. Living large on $160 a month.
Yeah.
Because I went to the grocery store over the weekend. I had one bag that was $48.
Oh, it's gotten so much more expensive. And I don't know if you know this, Jane, but grocery prices have not gone down at all.
They haven't?
Items have. There are some items that have, and people like to look to the infamous eggs that were talked about last year. That was a big part of the campaign rally of Donald Trump. But the eggs are too expensive.
Yes.
And the eggs were expensive for various reasons. And then the egg prices came down. One of the big reasons is because there was a bird flu that affected the production and the demand. And that has gone away and things have evened itself out. So egg prices have come down. That's great.
That's great.
But that doesn't affect your toothpaste, your pasta, your this, your
Your
that, the
beef.
meat. The meat itself has gone up so much. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. In fact, I would say a sack of groceries for $40-some, that's hitting the new
norm.
The new norm. The new thing of like, well, that seems almost like a deal. What was in there, you know?
Well,
So,
I was thinking about everything's $1.
yeah.
Now it should be everything starts at $5.
Yeah.
Because everything is $4.99.
For $20, we're going to give you a bag, and you get 2 minutes, and whatever you can put in that bag, you get for $20.
Yeah. By the way, our president said yesterday, quote, "In 9 months, we've lifted over 600,000 Americans off food stamps. Wages are rising at the fastest pace. Energy prices are down. Gasoline prices are down. Grocery prices are down." Donald Trump, president, yesterday. Grocery prices are down, everybody. I think he just thinks that if he says that over and over and over enough times, people will start to believe it, even although the evidence provided by their own eyes is different.
Yeah. And lifting people off of benefits isn't the same as taking their benefits away from them. There's a big difference between the two.
Cutting benefits, yeah.
If you worked to raise wages and worked to maybe create a more affordable, more solutions towards affordable living, whether it's by the state or partnership, state and federal, like there are ways of doing this. But none of it's happening. And in 9 months, all they have done is just destroy the East Wing, fire lots of people, and do nothing about the things that affect regular tax-paying folk who just live their lives. So, yeah, I again, this whole notion of like, he's done so much. Prove it.
Well, again, for himself, his family's done really, really well.
Yeah.
Really, really well.
Yeah.
Since he's been back in office, like tripled their their net worth.
Oh, I know.
They're raking it.
I mean, they're selling so many things on the side too. It's just a feast for the pockets right now for them and people who are around them. We're seeing a lot of. It's good to see billionaire business owners come out of the woodwork to show their support for America. I mean, Donald Trump, and give their money to things they're doing. I mean, I guess the Department of Defense is taking donations, $130 million. And yeah, I think troops should be paid. Yes, absolutely. But you know what? I think Congress should work too. They're getting paid.
They are getting paid.
I wandered off the point there for a moment, but it's really frustrating because you're right, Jane. He just keeps saying these things.
And no one disputes it.
No one
ever disputes him.
Yeah.
It's just, oh, yes, we'll all nod our heads and repeat what he says and be his stenographer, essentially, instead of pushing back.
Yeah.
Feeding America will have bins out. Donation sites include Milwaukee City Hall, the county courthouse, the Marcia Coggs Health Center, Fiserv, all MPS schools, police districts, public libraries, and the Masonic Temple Church. We will put this link in our show notes if you would like to help out, make some donations, make some food donations. Peanut butter is really good. These are non-perishable things.
Yeah, we need non-perishable foods.
So things that are going to last on the shelf.
And donations are absolutely wonderful, and that's great. And I love seeing communities come together and help each other. But at some point, those donations and those resources are finite, and we have to turn to our government that they make an investment on their people. And whether it's we're talking about the government shutdown affecting SNAP, but do not forget that because of the big bill for billionaires, SNAP benefits are going to be decimated by many nickels, Derek Van Orton. But also, we can't turn to a state either for help, too.
Mary Felskowski said it.
We have, and if you want proof of that, Calvin, we have a clip from State Senator Mary Felskowski on the topic of SNAP benefits and what the state could do with a $4+ billion surplus.
The state now says food share benefits come November will run out. 700,000 Wisconsinites, $114 million a month from the federal government. Is there any scenario that you see that the legislature would step in if this is prolonged?
$114 million is a lot of money. And my heart goes out to people. But this is a federal issue. And I don't see the state having the resources to do that. I just wish that the Democrats would sign this continuing resolution and vote for it, and let's move on.
Well,
they shouldn't be playing games like this.
Oh, right. Let's not play games, Mary. That would be bad.
And $114 million, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money. You know what? You can't really. I'm not going to expect the people of Wisconsin to do. Donate that much money or supplies. We can donate peanut butter and soup and things and clothing and do what we can in our budgets. But at a certain point, it falls to the government. And if the federal government isn't going to get their butts in gear and do something, then the state should do something about it. And Mary Felskowski just going, it's a federal issue and the Democrats' fault.
Can't do anything.
Tell me a better example of leaders not leading. I mean, that is, my dog ate the homework, or he started it, or, well, I don't want to. Cool. Why are you in office?
Well, and again, we have money for all kinds of things.
Yes.
We got $172 million for new planes for Kristi Noem.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of money for other things, but when it comes to helping out folks who a lot of them are working, and we talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
People who receive SNAP benefits in many cases work for companies like Walmart.
People who receive SNAP benefits are people like farmers.
Farmers receive SNAP benefits. Farmers are also on the ACA.
Yeah.
It's not just lazy, non-working moochers.
Yeah.
And what happened to the tariff shelf?
Yeah, there was a tariff
There's
shelf.
all this money
Trillions.
just sitting, trillions on the tariff shelf, according to the President of the United States.
Yeah, those are his words.
Why can't we just grab a couple million from the tariff shelf and keep the SNAP benefits going?
Because there are people out there who think that apparently it's not like this whole notion of like, well, the government doesn't have to do X, Y, or Z, and yeah, they do. Do you know why? Because we pay our taxes. And that tax money has to be used as resource for funding and investment. They use the money for wars. They use the money for foreign aid, but they should also use the money here. But instead, what we're doing is we're taking programs, we're gutting them, and we're going to hand them directly to billionaires. And what really makes me laugh, not in a ha-ha way, but more in like a, are you serious? Are people who say, well, there's nothing wrong with this. Are you a billionaire? Are you going to get any of this money? Because they're doing it to you as well. Doesn't make America great. Doesn't make your kitchen table economy great. But you defending this kind of behavior, I don't understand it. Is it just a I gotcha, I get to win type of thing? Because you're not.
Meanwhile, Attorney General Josh Kaul in Wisconsin suing the Trump administration over suspending the food share program. This lawsuit has been filed by a number of states. It argues the U.S. Department of Agriculture refusing to use emergency monies Congress has made available for circumstances just like this. They want a court order requiring the USDA to use emergency funds to help maintain SNAP and stop this lapse in payments. In a statement, the Attorney General said millions of Americans, including children, seniors, and veterans, are on the verge of losing access to the food assistance they rely upon. No one should have to go hungry because of dysfunction in our federal government. And going back to Derek Van Orden and Mary Felskowski, and well, not Mary, but certainly Derek Van Orden, 5 months ago, all the Republicans voted to gut SNAP. Mm-hmm. They all voted for this.
Yeah.
To cut, what, $500 million?
Quite a few nickels, I will say.
Yeah, there were several nickels involved.
I think it was 400 some million. I can look that up really quick. But yeah, it's also this negotiation in people's head that people, as you said, people who take SNAP, people who take Medicare, Medicaid, people who take any benefits from the government are lazy, moochers, good for nothing, shiftless, all that stuff. No, they're veterans, they're families.
They're seniors on fixed incomes.
They're seniors, they're farmers, they're all these folks who we would just
You
qualify.
probably see them on the street.
They're probably in your neighborhood.
In your town.
But you're right. You're right. The government has no responsibility to do anything whatsoever except exist, take our money, and give it to their billionaire buddy friends. You're right. We solved America, everybody.
There you go.
All right. I can't wait for the next thing. Maybe they'll just expect me to live on like juices and berries.
Could you do that?
Probably can't afford them. They're very expensive at the store.
Yeah, don't get
very expensive at the store.
Fresh food's very expensive.
Yeah.
Stay close when we return, hanging around with more of the best people. You're listening to Matt and Air on Air. Stay with us. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt and Air on Air. Jane Matt and Air, Greg Bach, the Ward Lord coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. Join us at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. Good morning, live stream.
Hello, live stream. We love you and we miss you.
Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Coming up after the 9:30 news, Amy Berrio from Clean Wisconsin is going to be joining us talking about data centers, which have been getting a lot of attention the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
After Mount Pleasant rejected one. Caledonia, thank you. Yeah. And Port Washington is going ahead.
Yeah.
People kind of waited a little bit late to make their voices heard about that. So we will be talking about that after the 9:30 news. I hope you can stick around for that. And just a reminder to sign up for Civic Media's new daily newsletter.
It's hard to say, like, our new newsletter.
Our new newsletter is called Civic Media Today.
Yeah, absolutely. You go to civicmedia.substack.com civicmedia.com. Sign up right there. It's a great distillation of everything going on. It's a daily snapshot of what's happening here at the network. And that includes clips to shows, that includes podcasts, that includes news stories, everything we think you should know about from Civic Media, we put right there in Civic Media Today. Again, go to civicmediatoday.substack.com. Sign up. It's absolutely free. Along with the Civic Media app, there are so many great free things here.
We
Jane.
have lots of freebies.
There's a lot of free things. And when you sign up for that app, you can take part in text to win contest, call. You can leave a voice note. You can leave a voice note if you don't like us.
Absolutely.
And guess what? There are people out there who don't like us.
That's true. There are. But
yeah.
we welcome your comments.
Exactly. So yeah, civicmediatoday.substack.com. Sign up today. Tell a friend too, please.
Please.
That's one of the great things about us is that it's a word of mouth campaign as well. We want people to know about us. Tell one friend today about Civic Media and just
help us spread the word.
Exactly.
Help us spread the word.
Exactly.
Wanted to share this real briefly before we go to the news. This is from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Mary Spicuzza, Daniel Bison, Molly Beck have the byline. Wisconsin candidates Maria Lazar and Tom Tiffany facing criticism after attending events with 2020 election denier Michael Flynn. Remember Mike Flynn? Michael Flynn twice pled guilty for lying to the FBI. And then he reversed himself right before the Justice Department came in and dismissed the case. He'd been working for Russia.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But he got a pardon.
Don't worry about it.
So it's all good.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, Maria Lazar, who is running for the Supreme Court, and Tom Tiffany now, who has thrown his hat into the race for governor, were both at the Republican Party of Brown County Lincoln Reagan Trump dinner.
They've added Trump's name to it.
They added Trump. It used to just be the Lincoln Reagan. Now it's Lincoln Reagan Trump dinner on October 24th, which featured Michael Flynn, again, who pled guilty to lying to the FBI, got pardoned by Trump. Of course, Mike Flynn, also big on the 2020 election denial. Misinformation embraced by QAnon. He's a big QAnon fan.
Yeah.
About Pizzagate and all of that crazy.
Yeah. That's who gets to hang out with them.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you don't know Maria Lazar, I can't remember if it's Lazar is running for Wisconsin State Supreme Court. You know, the branch that maybe looks at cases like trying to overturn elections.
Yes.
It's good to know who she hangs out with. I'm really happy to know that someone like Michael Flynn, who is a convicted criminal, gets to hang out at the Lincoln Reagan Trump dinner. Good God. If you want to look, what happened to the Republican Party, Jane? Just say Lincoln, Reagan, Trump. It's right there in the name.
Judge Lazar, a spokesperson for Lazar, defended her attendance there, saying she attends a wide range of community events to engage with constituents and promote civic dialogue, regardless of who else is there. A spokesperson for Tom Tiffany did not respond to a comment for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
If you want to know who she hangs out with and who she likes to discuss with and defend and talk about, look at who she has worked with in the past. It's groups who are very much at the tables at these events.
Conspiracy theorists.
Well, conspiracy theorists, but also like very pro-life. Anybody that she worked with is at that dinner. They're all a part.
Yeah, they're all there.
It's unapologetic. She is a more palatable version of Rebecca Bradley. Rebecca Bradley was very outspoken in her thoughts on the last year's election.
Oh, yes.
Very outspoken.
Very outspoken.
She did not stay in. She did not run for election. But this new candidate is the same thing.
Same beliefs.
With polish.
Yeah, same beliefs, but a little more toned down.
Yeah.
So that will just be interesting to see going forward. And they are not letting the 2020 election thing go away.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's almost like they don't have anything else to talk about because they can't campaign on successes unless they're lying about it, like grocery prices or gas prices or rent, energy things like
prices.
that.
Everything's down, everybody.
Yeah.
Everything's down.
Everything's down. That's why we must have Donald Trump for a third term. To heck with you, Constitution.
Yeah, that's a whole nother. That's a whole
It's a
nother
very
discussion.
Do you know it's a very burnable document? It's just written on paper. Who cares?
The Constitution?
Yeah, we'll forget about it.
Rip it up.
Ah.
News is coming up next, and then we're talking to Clean Wisconsin on the other side. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network. Don't go away. Good morning and welcome to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, Sweet Galby on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same at 855-752-4842. You can also leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Data centers, a big issue, not just in around the country, but here in Wisconsin. Joining us to talk about data centers and some of the concerns around that, Amy from Clean Wisconsin, Amy Berrio is here. Good morning, Amy. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you doing?
We are wonderful. Thank you. Really looking forward to talking to you about this. This is from the Wisconsin Examiner. Henry Redmond had the byline, environmental groups raise alarm on AI data centers' use of energy and water. And I think this is something that people are starting to pay closer attention to as we see our energy bills going up and our water bills going up, because these data centers are big. They suck a lot of both, right? They do.
I think that's what we've seen so far, right? These are different kinds of data centers. They're not the typical that we've had in Wisconsin for years now. They are big. They are AI data centers. They're doing a lot of computing. And so that article you mentioned references an analysis from Clean Wisconsin that seeks to look at just how much energy, for example, are these AI data centers going to use. And we found that just the full build out of the data center in Mount Pleasant, and then just the very first phase of the Microsoft data center will use far more energy than all of the homes in Wisconsin combined, for example.
Than the entire state.
Correct. So, we're saying about 4.3 million homes worth of energy for those two facilities. And we only have 2.8 million homes in Wisconsin. So again, that's just to show the scale. And I think people are starting to realize the strain that scale of demand will put on the resources that we all share.
Really quick, because I feel like data centers, as you said, there are smaller ones. They've been around. Data centers are nothing new, but I feel like this push, and in Wisconsin too, especially, because I hear commercials on the radio for a data center lobbying group that's telling us all the wonderful, beautiful things about data centers.
Yeah.
When did this start as such a push? Because we were introduced to something called the data center tracking map online, which shows you the location of every data center in America. And there are hundreds upon hundreds of them. But when did it become such a, I don't want to say fashionable thing, but in the news, mainstream thing for us to be concerned about?
Well, and these big, massive data centers.
I think because people started realizing the impacts.
Yeah.
So initially, it felt like AI kind of just like ran onto the scene all of a sudden, and then you started seeing data centers being built all across the country and all across the world in a hurry, big AI data centers, and you started to see those impacts. You mentioned water use. I guess you could call them older AI data centers, the ones from, a few years ago, did use massive amounts of water on site. And people saw that happening and were really upset. It was, these data centers would come in and build really quickly. Here in Wisconsin, we're at the center of the largest freshwater system in the world, our Great Lakes. We have a lot of open land because of our, great farming history.
Sure.
And so we're pretty attractive. And then in 2023, we passed some tax incentives for data centers. So they don't have to pay sales tax on any of those computers and other things that they need in their buildings. Really, everything. You and I, we have to pay sales tax if we go buy some computers, but these richest companies in the world don't have to now in Wisconsin. And so you saw Wisconsin becoming more and more attractive to these data centers. I will say, when you read a press release from data centers right now in Wisconsin, they'll talk about how they are minimizing water use on site. And that may be true. And so we're going to be coming out with a new analysis that looks at offsite water use. So when you have a data center that needs more power than millions of Wisconsin homes, those power plants need water for cooling. Power generation is responsible for more than 70% of water withdrawals in this state. And if we see power plants built to serve the needs of data centers, which we are already seeing with the first phase of the Microsoft data center, we're going to see a real impact to our water resources. And that's something that data center developers are not talking about.
Gee, that's shocking. If you're just joining us on Matt Nair on Air, Amy Berrio from Clean Wisconsin is our guest, and we are talking about data centers, especially in Wisconsin. When you talked about these tax incentives that they were given in 2023, when they talk about bringing jobs to communities, there are jobs when they are constructing these data centers. But once they're built, from my understanding, they don't require that many bodies.
It's unclear, right? I think you're seeing data centers, particularly the Oracle, OpenAI, Vantage data center in Port Washington, trying to say, oh, we are going to have. I think, they're trying to beef up their jobs numbers to try to appear more appealing. But we don't really know how many jobs they're going to need on site. We know those buildings are going to be full of computers, not people, and that is for sure. And I think what a lot of communities are calling for is, how about some real guarantees about how much water you're going to use on site, some real transparency about how much energy you're going to need, and some real guarantees that you're going to deliver on some of these job numbers, as limited as they may be. Right now, there's really no teeth to anything.
Well, and that's something that I wanted to talk about just there, because you mentioned just a moment ago about the way they talk about their usage of water, the way they, I want you for a moment, Amy, to be our data center whisperer when it comes to messaging, because you're the communications director for Clean Wisconsin, and they're going to throw a lot of fancy business sentences and fancy words that will probably quell some people when they use things like, we're going to minimize our usage, and we're going to, I think the other term is a closed system and things of that nature. Can you talk about those two things? And then also, from your standpoint, from Clean Wisconsin standpoint, what is a good level? What is something that would be acceptable for you all to see from data centers as far as their water usage, energy usage, to say, look, it's not optimal, but this is something we at least kind of get behind, because it's not going to be billions of gallons a year. I mean, that's a lot to throw at you, but it just feels like when people are talking to us about this, there's a lot of information coming at us, and the biggest concern is water and energy, but they do a really good job of zhuzhing up the language.
Obfuscating,
yes,
one could say.
Yeah, for sure they do. And so they'll talk about, their sort of average amount of daily water use that they'll use. And that's fine. But what we really need to know is, how much water are you going to use on the hottest days of the year? Those are the days when, from what we understand, those new technology cooling systems aren't going to be enough. Those are also the days when our water systems are the most stressed. We know with climate change, we have hotter summers. We know we have the potential for longer, more severe droughts. And so when we're in a situation in Wisconsin where we are in a drought, where it's August, we haven't had rain in a couple of weeks, farmers are needing to water their crops, people are needing to, flush their toilets in their homes, and everything's under stress. What kind of a guarantee do we have from a data center that they will say, oh, we recognize this, we're gonna cut back, we're gonna maybe not use this data center as much as one of our other ones in some other part of the country? Where are our guarantees that this is going to happen? What we don't have is any insight, zero, into how much water these data centers are going to use on the hottest days of the year. And it's important how much power they're going to use during those times, either when our water systems are stressed, because as I mentioned, those power plants need water, or when our energy systems are most stressed, when our grid is stressed. From what we understand, what we've seen from these data center tech companies, they want to be able to access full demand, full everything, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So there is no what we would call demand response. No, we'll back off.
We'll back off, right?
If the state, other people need something. And I think what we really need right now is transparency and some kind of mechanism to ensure that these data centers, when we are stressed, when there isn't enough to go around, will be required to back off of their demands.
If you're just joining us on Matt Nair on Air, Amy Berrio is here with Clean Wisconsin. We're talking about data centers, specifically about their water and energy usage. It's interesting, Amy, because I saw an article last week that talked about some communities that have data centers. They actually want individuals to sign up and say that we will give the data center permission to lower our usage so they get priority. And I think that's kind of speaking to what you just said about who's going to be prioritized for needs when things get tight, when electricity gets tight, when water gets tight. Do the data centers get it over my neighbor Marge who needs fresh water? Seriously, but that's what we're talking about.
That was going to be my follow-up, is like, I felt like I didn't make that up in my head. I felt like you or someone else had said that there's almost a thing where they're going to prioritize the business over the people.
Yeah.
And that really quick too, and as a side note, is something that you then want to talk to your elected officials about and ask them questions and ask them for transparency in those deals. But yeah, can you speak more on that, Amy?
Well, I mean, that is what we've seen happen in some states where, and you kind of know that if you sign up, for example, for the metering program with MG&E, where they can, come in and on days of high demand, like slightly lower your what you're using. That's something that is typically a good thing, right? So when things are stressed, you can help back off a little bit so that the peak demand doesn't get too high.
Right.
But when there's a priority made that maybe you didn't sign up for, when there are certain entities being prioritized over who gets what, I think you're seeing people in other states, I can't remember which one, it may be West Virginia, getting pretty mad about that.
Yeah.
And so you're seeing these states kind of like, vying to see who can draw in the most data centers, who can be the most attractive. And Wisconsin's played a bit of a part in that as well. But I think communities are getting more and more upset. You've got non-disclosure agreements, you've got shell companies, you've got very little idea of what's going on before these data centers kind of come to town. And by the time they realize what's happening, it's too late. Yeah. And so we don't want to get in that position here in Wisconsin where it's too late. In 10 years, we're regretting all these decisions we're making right now.
Well, and as you said, I think, Amy, that more people are getting educated about this and what this means. And we harp on this a lot on this show. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. And the more you know, the better off you're going to be.
And I'm going to put the data center, it's called datacentermap.com and specifically /USA, because I'm pretty sure most people would not know this, but there are 4,150 data centers in America. And we're actually below the average, but there's
for now,
because they see that, as you said, Amy, and as you said, Jane, they see that fresh water as a commodity. And I don't want to say it belongs to us, but we're the people, and I feel like we should be prioritized over these businesses.
We're to continue our conversation with Amy Berrio from Clean Wisconsin. Troy, I see you. We will take you on the other side. Stay close. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network, and we will be right back.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
Good morning and welcome back to Matt Nair on Air. Jane Matt Nair, Greg Bach, our one, our only Cal Zone on the board, coming to you from our studio at Radio Park in Racine, where you can join us at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are talking data centers in Wisconsin. Amy Berrio is our guest with Clean Wisconsin. Amy, we had Troy from Mount Horeb has been very patient waiting on the line. Good morning, Troy. What did you want to say?
Good morning, everyone. I'm just curious, with all the water that they're using, if these communities aren't getting that out of the Great Lakes, and if they are, could we use that to stop them? Because I know Waukesha had to beg for water to get water out of the Great Lakes, and every surrounding state in Canada had to approve that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what kind of, I mean, but obviously, Amy, they're getting, thank you, Troy, appreciate you checking in. But obviously, they're getting okays for this from the state.
Well, they don't really need okays from the state typically. Like what you're seeing in Port Washington is they are hooking up to the municipal water system to serve them. Same in Racine. So I think, and what Troy was talking about is the Great Lakes Compact, which Clean Wisconsin had a hand in getting passed, I believe in the late 1990s, early 2000s. And that is meant to protect water in the Great Lakes region, because you not only have data centers coming to Wisconsin, you have them coming to Michigan
Right.
and Minnesota and all these other
Right.
states. And there has yet to be that level of coordination that there's supposed to be when it comes to protecting water withdrawals from the Great Lakes. Again, Racine and Port Washington are allowed to withdraw water from the Great Lakes because they're municipalities.
It's because they're tapping into the city system.
Right. So, I think, again, that what is not recognized is the water that's being used by power plants to serve these data centers, which can be quite a lot. And so that starts to be where things get fuzzy. Most of these data center proposals, like the one in Dane County, the one that's been approved in Beaver Dam, even the latest Microsoft one that was announced a couple of weeks ago, have not even said how much energy they're going to use. So when they're not saying how much energy they need, then you don't know what their water footprint really is, and then you don't really know what the impact is going to be. And so it's just a black hole of information that we have right now.
That seems bad.
I go back to just the simple
that
idea of
just seems bad.
transparency. And I think to speak to what I think, if I'm hearing Troy correctly, it seems like the question ultimately is, and it always is, why does the municipality or the people have to work so much harder to get the water or get the thing, whereas businesses seem to just be able to walk in and be like, we want the thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And granted, you're right. They're tapping into the municipalities that have access to the water. But I feel like if a data center was moving into Waukesha, they say, we need lake water. They'd be like, very good, sir. Let's do this. It seems like it's always easier for the businesses.
Well, and while we're talking about water, Amy, because again, I can't even say I'm science adjacent. Why can't they all have closed water systems? Wouldn't this alleviate a lot of these problems? Or is there some way that the water gets contaminated as it's going through that initial cooling phase that they can't reuse it?
We tried so hard to science during the commercial break.
And we couldn't. That's why. We're like,
Well, okay, there's a few layers here. First of all, Microsoft and Vantage, the two data centers that have been, talking the most about what they're going to do, say they are going to use closed loop systems, which means they're not going to be actively withdrawing millions and millions of gallons of water on
Right.
site every day.
right.
But those systems are proprietary, so we don't really know how they work. We have some information that on the hottest days of the year, they won't be as effective, and there will need to be more withdrawals in those days. We do know that our power plants, coal, gas, nuclear, do not use water reuse systems, and in fact can withdraw quite a bit of water. So we think that data centers, when you look at their real water footprint, the ones that we're talking about, will be pulling an entire city's worth of water as their water footprint when you include
The electric.
the electric
Yeah.
needs. So these are things that, again, it comes down to that transparency. Why don't we know how much water, how much energy the new Microsoft data center is going to use that was announced a couple of weeks ago? Why aren't they talking about it? They say it's going to be the most powerful in the world. We don't know what the energy use is really going to be, what that demand is going to be on our energy systems. So I think it's hard to discuss these issues with any kind of real knowledge, whether you're sciencey or not, if you don't have any information.
Yeah.
And that's where I would say, folks, if this is a situation that concerns you, and unfortunately we can't take all the calls this morning on this, if this is a situation that concerns you, especially transparency, this is when you go to myvote.wi.gov. Look up your county supervisors, your council, village members. Tell them that, okay, if they're going to talk to groups that want to put data centers in, we need points of transparency here so we know what they're doing and how it will affect our communities. Because just saying, yeah, go ahead and it's fine, do it later, that's not good enough.
Well,
we need the transparency.
Seriously, I don't know how you can expect it to make an informed decision when you don't have all the facts.
Yeah, and you'll see these companies coming in and, the landowners sign non-disclosure agreements, the local Municipalities are under NDAs, and then it becomes really hard to get information, until it's already approved.
There's an old saying that comes to mind about mushrooms and keeping them in the dark somehow that just keeps popping in my head. Not going to go into that. We're just about
I was told
out
there'd
of
be no
time.
science.
There's no science. We're not good at science. Amy Barrio is Communications Director for Clean Wisconsin. Thank you so very much for your time, Amy. We'll love to have you back. We know you have a new report coming out.
That's right. Happy to talk about that anytime.
We'll have you back when that report comes out. Thank you so much. News is coming up next. Stay with us. You are listening to Matt Nair on Air, coming to you across the vast, statewide, countrywide. You can pick us up around the world on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.